During week 5 here, we're asked if intercollegiate athletic organizations should adopt the Eddie Robinson rule, why or why not. My perspective is going to be based off of the moral subjectivism framework, and that comes down to basically using an individual person's perspective of what's right and wrong. So the Eddie Robinson rule establishes a requirement of institutions to interview at least one minority candidate for all head coaching and leadership positions before making a final hire. I would say this would be an ideal utopian strategy for hiring within intercollegiate athletics. We've all heard the expression, don't judge a book by its cover, and I would say it's a great idea to look at implementing that type of policy to squash the existing misconceptions and the inherent bias of people. But I'd also go on to say it does matter who's in the recruiting pool. You may not necessarily see those candidates, but it could be a good practice. After doing some of my own research on the composition of the athletics department here at FSU, I found that essentially 32% of our coaches are female compared to 68% male. And after I looked at Frostburg, I went on to look at West Liberty University, another D2, Iowa State, and BYU, both D1. And the one thing I noticed in common amongst these institutions was a vast majority of the coaches at least appear to be either Caucasian, male, or female. Now, whether or not that's actually how they identify is another story, but that's what I saw. I went on to find this breakdown of collegiate coaching demographics on Zippia, and it does turn out that the most common ethnicity among collegiate coaches is white. Approximately 66.7% of coaches are white, compared to approximately 13.2% of collegiate coaches being Hispanic or Latino, and 8.9% of collegiate coaches being Black or African American. And just the numbers themselves demonstrate inequality. So at the same time I'm taking this course, I'm taking Management 620, and we did a character strength survey recently. For me, the top result of that survey was fairness, equity, and justice, which emphasizes treating all people fairly and not letting personal feelings bias your decision about other people. It's kind of giving them their own ground, and demonstrating what, who, all those kinds of things are. I could go into what some of the duties of a head coach are that I pulled out of the Division III level, but that would be longer than I have to make my point. I don't believe that either male or female coaches are inferior or superior to each other just based on that ground. Appearance of a person does not automatically translate to success on the field or the court. As a female coach now, looking back at my own collegiate experience, I always did see fewer female coaches in cross country than I did male coaches. Football data was some of the easiest to come across, and I found an article from 2017 that said 68% of current FBS programs have or will have had a head coach in 2018 who's been at their current school for less than 5 years. And that's significant because, when it comes to hiring, there's also the consideration of exactly how often these jobs are coming up. It could make universities more appealing potentially for future student athletes, yes, having the diversity. But, at the same time, administration could be focused on just that win-loss record and however they're going to get there. I found one final article from ESPN about racial inequality across collegiate coaching, and it shed a light on the lack of Black coaches in football at the collegiate level. In the article, one of the assistant coaches at Navy, Ivan Jasper, he had said, "I don't want to be hired because I'm Black. I just don't want to not be hired because I'm Black." Under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, an employer cannot discriminate on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. And choosing not to hire someone on the basis of any one of those things, it would be wrong, really. And it would be grounds for a suit. Qualified is qualified. It doesn't discriminate based on what someone looks like, whether someone is a minority or not. There's a bigger picture. It might be the right idea from an equal opportunity standpoint, but that also may not really be where the coaches are.